Oh, I don't need air conditioning. I use a fan. Well, probably because you can't afford air conditioning. You can't afford to buy one, and you can't afford to use one. So there's always a lot of excuses why you're here, why you're renting a $40 a month dwelling. We heard those lame excuses all the time. But let's celebrate the Philippines because it is a good place. It's a good choice. You got to get over certain hurdles, though. Got to get over certain hurdles. Don't expect perfection because there is not perfection in the Philippines. It is a developing country. The streets get flooded, sewers overflow. You're going to see scenes of kids playing in this swill. You might be scratching your head saying, why are they allowed to do this? Where's the parents? Well, look, there's certain things about the Philippines you're not going to change. So let's concentrate on the good of the Philippines because there are bad factors out here that you got to factor in. But if you're going to live out here, let's, stay with the good. Yeah, the people are very friendly. They absolutely are. It's nice to have that. And the housing is still affordable. Get rid of a couple of habits, you make more money per month. Because liquor, it's no longer, if you moved out here strictly because you think the liquor's cheaper and the housing together, good combo, and you're finding out that your liquor is getting more and more expensive. And if you smoke on top of that, on the liquor, well, you got quite an expense. So, a matter of minutes, I'm pretty much kind of totaling up what the Philippines experience is like. It's a different culture. Yes, check one. Housing is cheaper, check two. People are friendly, check three. Okay, let's go down the list. Beautiful beaches, check four. Okay, food, well, it gets a minus for me on that. Cleanliness, well, it's going to get on the minus side as being hygienic and being a very clean place. Let's be honest. Women, checklist, definitely. Worthwhile to come out here for the Filipinas because they are beautiful. I've seen a new trend happening out here, though, since I've been out here. I've noticed there's a lot of Filipinas that are really getting pretty huge as far as weight is concerned. That there's a new trend going on with that. But, they need love too. More to love, right? I'm just giving you the facts. Hundreds of thousands of hours of people doing videos, just summing it up right here. Your best reasons for moving to the Philippines is Filipinas, of course, cheap housing, beaches. There you go. Okay? It's not that complicated. Yes, it's a different culture, but you gotta kind of figure that thing out before you move out here. Not everything is going to be peachy creamy for you as far as the culture. You just learn to flow with different things out here. Well, I agree with you to stay in a country of origin if you're not going to like it out here. But I don't know, retiring in the Philippines, if you meant a negative or positive on your statement on there. For me, I'm happy being here. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just putting out the reasons people come here, the key reasons, saving people a lot of time and toil listening to 100,000 shows talk about the same thing about what it costs to live out here. It's expensive. It's expensive to live out here, period. But if you have the financial means of living out here, then you're ahead of a lot of people. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Nothing more than that. It's not for everybody. For those that learn to love it here and they feel comfortable in their skin here, Now, to be alone in the Philippines, I would say that would be a sad factor. This is not a place that you really want to be alone. And I don't care who you're with, girlfriend, wife, whatever. When they're around their friends, they're all going to be talking the language. Well, after all, it is their language. And you might feel a little bit left out. You might have to say, well, what are you guys talking about? That your girlfriend or wife, whatever it might be, will explain to you. But don't expect them to automatically try to push themselves to talk English because you're sitting there or you're around. No, that's not going to happen. Well, most of the time, it's not going to happen. You better be healthy. If not, you will need. Well, that's the other thing, too. Okay, I guess I didn't mention that. There really is no real good expat insurance out here. I think it's all bullshit. And I say save your money instead of giving it to some organization, some kind of health insurance company. Put the money away for something like that. Just pay in cash. Because they may not deliver, if you know what I mean, when the time comes to a hospital or a medical institution. Generally, you're going to pay the hospital in advance anyway. And then it's between you and the insurance company, you know, when they're going to actually reimburse you for what you put out to the medical institution that you had to go to. If you didn't know that, that's how it works. The medical institutions, they demand money right there. They're not going to wait till the insurance company squares it out. They're not going to do that. Sorry. Let's see. Well, first of all, you shouldn't move out here if you have pre-existing serious health conditions to begin with. That's the wrong move. Look, one show, cover it all on one show right here. Most people know I'm not doing any regularity of shows on here unless I feel compelled to talk about something, and I'm very comfortable that way, as I've said before on the 4 other shows I've actually done on here the past month or so, where I'd be normally doing daily shows, if not 1, 2, or 3 a day. Now, we're not there anymore. Like I keep on saying, I'm lucky I'm doing any shows at all. And I say that for a reason. Because I am indeed weaning off YouTube. Like if you're going to quit a habit, you're going to wean off it sometimes. Or just go cold turkey. But I am prompted at some point to make a show of my own choice about something that I think could be entirely mundane or have great significance, or just to clear something up. Because when you listen to so many shows after so many years and you're hearing the same shit over and over again, just to have something to talk about, because shows don't always succeed, and you get pretty bored. And one of the reasons I'm not a regular on here anymore is because when I find it to the point I'm getting bored, that's all that matters. It don't matter if somebody else listening to me. If I'm getting bored about it, it gets old to me as I'm getting older. I give myself a little satisfaction by doing a show here and there. And that works out pretty well. No, nobody's chased me off YouTube or anything like that. Nobody's ever succeeded. But that's not the point. Point is, I'm on here, I'm doing a show by my choice to share something with you. As simple as that. And to simplify, if you're planning on living in the Philippines, put all the nonsense and bullshit behind that you hear on here and get straight down to the facts as to why you would want to move to the Philippines. What are the real reasons and what are you going to expect? Forget about what you hear in all these shows. The Philippines is quite different than Western culture in many, many ways. Now, that doesn't make it a bad place, and we're certainly not saying that. I'm here. I'm saying that you will have to deal with certain aspects of the culture that you might find different. Okay? You might find a little bit confusing. Sometimes even humorous. But you're not going to tell a nation of people how to live their lives. Oh, I come from Western culture. We don't do that there. Well, no, you're not in Western culture anymore. It's not where you're at anymore. It ain't Kansas anymore, okay? You're in a different country. That sums it up. That just basically, some besides flying ants and termites, which I think was worth putting on. Oh, you didn't. Well, you saw the pile, but you didn't see the other piles. They're still sweeping up out there. And they got the hose out. Next comes the ant invasion. Man, you're living with creepy crawlers out here. Some have two legs. That's just the way it is, man. And most of the creepy crawlers are actually expats. But you're never really going to have a hard time with a Filipino out here because they are friendly, unless they have reason not to be friendly with you, okay? Got to be a damn good reason, too, usually. Oh, sure, you could talk about the fact that, oh, well, hey, man, like, don't talk about some workers and stuff. And maybe you don't like the results of a job they did for you and all that, but all in all, you realize it's just trying to make a living. Trying to make a living. And the fact is just don't be overpaying them for a job that, maybe wasn't done correctly. You're already helping them out by giving them a job. I always overpay Filipinos, whether they did a proper or good job or not. Okay? Let's be honest about it. And it's just really kind of simple. I just won't hire them again if I felt they didn't perform their job. I mean, that's the reality. Oh, what is this? Where'd they come in from? My exercise room. There are a few termite wings things. How did they get in here, though? Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Oh, I basically came on just to kind of show you what these flying termites looked like here, because we get this invasion, the invasion of the termites. We get this every now and again. It's pretty spectacular, actually. Let's see. I sure do not miss you. You give me, you rich. Oh, that. Yeah. Okay, you're saying that they're friendly because they want. No, you can't categorize everybody doing that because you really can't. Come on. I mean, sure, they look at you and they figure you, if you're white and you're foreign, you got more money than they do. Most of the time, you're probably right. But just don't give in to that. If you want to pay them a little more than what the job is worth, then go ahead and do that. That's up to you. That's fine. That's fine. I've overpaid a hell of a lot of people out here, and I didn't get the job done right. Was I happy that they didn't do the job right? No, of course not. But what are you going to do? Oh, they managed to get in here. I see how. Pardon me, I'm kind of multitasking. Yeah, they came in all right. They invaded. The invaders. When those things go into a swarm, it's quite an incredible display, and you will see the results all around the perimeter of your house, as I've shown, I think, in the beginning of this broadcast. Quite amazing. It was worth doing a show just for that. Never mind the politics and legalities and all that shit. Screw that. Do a simple show about something simple. But get your facts straight. That's number one. Get your facts straight before you do anything. I got so bored and tired of hearing the same rhetoric over and over again, I could name all the shows, but there are too many. Everybody needs something to talk about. They're going to put a show on and they just repeat things over and over again. Yeah, the Philippines is this, and the cost of living is this. Yeah. But if you're going to give information, give valid information. Don't be telling people you can live on $500 a month. That's the old one that we're hearing all the time about. Oh, that particular amount of money is passed along a lot. You know, the $500 deal. Sure, you. I'm not saying you can't survive, at least physically you're alive on $500 a month. Filipinos do that all the time, but it's their lifestyle and it has to do with their spending ability and it has to do with what they can actually afford to eat. A Filipino family finds it hard to take the family out for dinner out here. Even they're realizing that. McDonald's in America, I heard that if you had to go feed a family of four or something, you could be paying over $150 or something. All right. Everybody has their reasons for moving out here. And I suppose to some degree that, yes, I guess in some ways it would be affordable to live out here on a certain amount of money. But no, I can't agree with the numbers that are being pushed around on here. Just trying to save you time. I just actually wanted to do a show for a long time that was going to cover in detail, but a lot of shows I did made in the past when I was doing regular shows on here, it was basically to show people that, you know, by my shopping and so forth, was to show people exactly what they're going to pay, what you're going to see on the shelves, and what they're charging. Where you thought from all the shows you heard that, oh yeah, I'm next to nothing. If I go to the Philippines, I'm going to live like a king, and you're going to be a rock star with all the women. You hear that a lot. I'm glad they talk about that, because you're really not a rock star out here. They're all going to flock around you simply because you're a foreigner. No, it's not always like that either. It's like getting the facts out. Forget about everything you hear and just listen to what I have to say. No, it's not cheap to live in the Philippines. Okay? Go to bumfuck Egypt somewhere. If you're going to live on such a little amount of money, go find bumfuck Egypt somewhere. This is not the place if you're on extremely low income. Bottom line it. Let's bottom line it. This is not the place for you to come if you have any kind of health condition. It doesn't have to be serious. Over-the-counter medications alone. You want ibuprofen or something? You'll be paying about 3 times the price that you would pay in America, if not more. What else you want to know? Now, we're not downing the Philippines. I'm just telling you the truth about it. I like it here. That's all that matters. I'm able to, thank goodness, I'm able to be able to meet my needs out here financially. Thank goodness for that. However, there are things that even I would say I'm not going to spend the money on. Find another alternative for something, on something you wanted to buy that was extraordinarily high in price. You either say, I'm just not going to buy the product, or find an alternative. Could I live on Filipino food? I actually eat a number of Filipino dishes out here on a fairly regular basis. Actually, it's not all Western food that I eat out here. No, it's not. Contrary to popular belief, there's a lot of dishes that we eat out here that are strictly Filipino. It's not my personal choice, that's just me. But there are some Filipino dishes that I like. I wouldn't want to have it every day, per se, but sure. I've adjusted to certain foods out here. It's an adjustment. All right, that's the word. Let's use it. Let's flow with it. The Philippines is an adjustment. And that's not saying nothing bad about the Philippines. It's an adjustment. Like you move to any country, it doesn't have to be the Philippines. It's an adjustment. Sometimes you got to make adjustments as to where you live. And just note from the get-go that you're not in your country anymore. Period. Acclimate to where you are. You can measure out the good with the bad. You can do that. But if you're going to be living out here, try to accentuate the good. Because, you're going to be living out here. Make sense? Or don't come out here at all. That's another solution. I've had to make, quite frankly, I've had to make a lot of adjustments living out here. I don't regret, actually, I don't regret living out here. I could adjust to probably to anywhere, even other than the Philippines. You make an adjustment. Go to the Adjustment Bureau, okay? Called attitude adjustments, too. No matter who you are, no matter where you're going to go, you take yourself to where you're going. If you're going to disrespect in total a culture, you're going to disrespect another culture in another country. Isn't that how it goes? No matter where you go, there you are, right? Okay, this is one of my occasional shows. I really had no wants to even do a show this morning, actually. It's kind of becoming that way. You can see how many shows I've done in the past month, and you could add them on your fingers on your one hand. Normally that would be times 20. It's whatever works for me, or don't work, is what it really comes down to. And I'm at a point where, I just don't feel it's really important anymore to deal with the bullshit on here. I'll come on here on my terms only. Got a wild hair? Put on a show. Or not. I can't be more clear than that. But as you see, my regularity is just not there, and that's going to go down to zero at some point. I know, you probably find it hard to believe. Come on. Dude, it does, like, thinking life might get to you. Your infatuation with the Filipino women. Yeah, it gets in your blood. You made a trip out here and said, man, I'm sold. Sold American. So many cuties out here. There are, but I gotta tell you, it really disgusted me. It just proves everything I thought. Is that for a lot of these vloggers who are, some of them are well known, and we're not going to put any names because we're not getting into politics anymore here. Done with that. Oh, they feature their wives on their channel and to get more viewers. It's the same formula that most successful channels actually do. Then their wife or girlfriend puts a show on of her own to make more income for the couple. But the bad thing about it is how. This is the thing that really perplexes me. If you're really claiming that you love this woman, she's such a decent Filipino, she ain't after my money, she ain't this or that. She's pure as pure can get. But yet, She's on her own show with her ass in the air, dancing or trying to dance or sing with a skimpy outfit on, and you can figure out who this is. This is a no-name show here. You could figure out who that is. I came across a live feed with this particular woman. Is that the same woman that this guy displays on his show all the time? I didn't go to her show. It just came out on a live feed. You know, here's a live. I went down and listened. Who the hell is that? Some really skinny, emaciated-looking woman in a scanty outfit, bending over with her ass in the air and dancing wildly and with no proficiency at all to what she was trying to do, both audibly and physically. Is that the same person? Everything is about the goddamn mighty fucking peso. That's what it's all about. I'm trying to just summarize what these foreigners do on here. Oh, they come across as being the good guy and living the good life, and they got the best Filipino you could ever get. But what are they doing with the Filipino? Their wife or girlfriend, whatever the case may be. They're allowing them to display themselves in a very matter that seems really low class. Why, if you have this love and you got this great relationship, you think she's a winner? That's why you married her. She's a winner. Why? If you have any respect for her at all, would you allow her on her own show and display herself in such a fashion? That's my point. I'm not saying who it is. I'm not putting names on here. You can come to any conclusion you want. It's one of those things, if the shoe fits, wear it. So we're not putting any names on here at all. You can name whoever you want to name if the shoe fits. That's fine with me. But you got these dudes that come on, oh, really respectable, running a respectable show here, and they're very dependent on that money. Buying property, buying this and that, because, well, the viewers are sending them money. They got a lot of AdSense, and they're making a couple of grand or more a month. Well, that sure helps the income. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But when you're using your significant other to make that money in part, to me that's kind of despicable. It shows me how much disrespect a person really has for their partner. That's just my opinion. I'm allowed an opinion. Yeah, when they dance on camera. And there's a lot of hardcore perverts out there with their underwear down to their ankles that like to look at this shit. And they will subscribe. Filipinos have come a long way. They've learned, well, certain types of Filipinos. And we are not typecasting a Filipino. I want to get that straight. They're not all like that. Thank goodness for that, and thank goodness for me. But it's all about the peso. How could you be showing respect for your woman if you say, hey, go ahead, go put on a show, because I got famous, and, you know, you're a Filipino, they'll watch you just for that alone, but because you're related to me, I'm sure you're going to get the subs. People like insurance salesmen, car insurance, you know, life insurance, whatever. These kind of individuals, they're pretty smart. They're slick talkers. Oh, they certainly are. Then they get embarrassed when they have somebody in their show that turns out to be a big criminal. When they promoted him to have him a guest on their show. Quite an embarrassment later on. But for the person that I'm talking about, I definitely lost respect for. Because I don't care who you are, whether it's this individual or anybody else. If you really did respect your Filipina, you're not going to put her on camera doing the things that she does just to get more money, so that she is self-serving, that she's making her own money, that he doesn't have to spend on her. But on top of that, it is spending money every month for the family. For example, when the woman wasn't working, or when she was working, she had to give X amount of money to the family. That's a responsibility. But then the husband says, you don't have to do that. I'll pay that for you. Put together a YouTube channel. You're going to make your own money. And we'll go buy some properties, we'll buy a car, we'll buy this and that. Is he not using that Filipina? Yes or no? Okay. Pennywise. Easy money for the ladies to just dance on video, even if they are not attractive. Lots of lonely simps in the West sending good money to them. Absolutely. Abso-stinking-lutely. Charles Luciano says, why is old dog pimping his wife? I'm not saying we're talking about old dog, but you put your own, two and two together, whatever. I'm not on the attack of any particular individual at all. I'm talking about the principle of what foreigners do, period, no matter who it might be. This is a common practice, is to use their Filipina, whether they're attractive or not. Don't matter, because some of the taste of these wannabe expats, whatever. Oh, God. Seriously. And some people who think somebody is attractive, well, to each his own. Which you might find attractive, I think, is ghastly. But, we all have our own taste, right? And power to the people for that, for having their own values, for having their own taste, for having their own wants and needs, and what they see is something that's beautiful, may not be, but in their eyes it is, for whatever reason. Now, it's according to the desperate level they're on. You want to see that kind of shit, go to Pornhub or something. You see plenty of that shit. You don't have to go to a YouTube channel. You want to get your fill of a lot of low-class, low-hanging fruit, and they happen to be Filipinos, you get all that shit and go to things like Pornhub and all these other sites they got out there that are free to watch, if that's what you want. But to have to go to a YouTube channel and see that shit? Seriously, man. I think I'm sounding like Andy Omar here. Sort of, kind of. YouTube vertical streams have been getting promoted and pushed to the masses. Yeah, even I was, doing vertical, and I was getting all these people doing live shows coming in from I've never seen before. No, I did get a bunch of subscribers on here that was not bought. It had to do, in part, I was doing this vertical thing, and it comes out as like a TikTok thing, and they think it's TikTok or something. I don't know. Like, I'm not, up on this shit as much as I'd like to, or even care to, really. But yeah, I've gotten a lot of subscribers on here. Called by accident or whatever, on purpose or on accident. I mean, people tuned into me because I was doing a live show, and I've always did this kind of vertical format. The best PTN sites. What is a PTN site? Let me put my glasses. Oh, the best porn sites? Is that what you mean? I wouldn't know. I don't go to that shit. I don't need to. I don't need to, thank you very much. The only one I know of that's popular is Pornhub. That's the popular one. I know that. Have I ever seen it? Yeah, I've been there. Porn is porn, period. Whatever you're looking for. Fetishes, this, that. There's always something for everybody, really. Whatever your thing is. Uh-oh, you throw up again? What's going on with you? So ain't one thing and answer another. Southside every now and then throws up. Either she drinks water too quick and that does it, or maybe she ate some of those damn ants. Who the hell knows? The big cleanup is still going on as I speak. I did my part, and I'm actually still am, as I'm actually speaking to you, I'm actually sweeping a few things in the kitchen floor that managed to get in. It's one thing you're not going to get away with in this country is creatures, the two-legged types and the multi-legged types or winged types. You're just not going to get away from that kind of shit out here. Kind of goes to the territory like anything else. I guess I have to buy, I'm not really believing in bug spray and shit, but I don't have to buy a can today because I know what's going to follow. I know what's going to follow. These flying termites. Flying termites! What else? Flying termites. If it ain't ants, it's termites. They're basically ants with wings anyway. Just like bats are basically rats with wings, if you think about it. Is that not the truth? Yeah, we do a lot of cleanup around here. We keep pretty busy. I don't even always have to go on a treadmill, let me tell you that. I get my steps in very well. As I said, I'm not as much of a couch potato as some people kind of label me as. Just because I'm a senior does not mean I'm laying on my ass every minute of the day. I can guarantee you that. And that is not the case. I couldn't anyway, because that's not my character. I cannot just sit there all day doing nothing just because I'm retired. Doesn't mean I'm retired from life. I'm retired, but not from life. I read a really interesting forum on there for people that were in their 60s and 70s. It was rather interesting. And how they seen life, or seen their life. And what the concerns were as they were getting older. And a lot of them had the same thing to say. I'm not going to concentrate on my age and think, oh, gee, if you reach a certain age, that means that, you've got a certain limited life left. Well, you do. I mean, we all have an expiration date, every single one of us. Even the younger audience out here that think they're going to live to see their 60s and 70s and so forth. They're fooling themselves. You can't control everything in life. You can do certain things that are good for you. They're probably going to give you a little bit more life. I'll say that. As compared to somebody who absolutely, just desecrates their own fucking life by doing all of the bad things and nothing good for themselves at all. They don't exercise, they don't do anything. Well, duh, What do you think's going to happen from there? Let's see. Frank is only retired from the single man's game. Well, I am in a loving relationship. I really am. But when a lot of these people try to portray and project on their shows, I'm in a loving relationship with my Filipina. Look at her. Ain't she a doll? Ain't she wonderful? Once a salesman, always a salesman is what I have to tell you. But, something? To each his own, man. I'm more concerned with my life than anybody else's. My own self-preservation, that comes number one, my friends. That's number one. My own self-preservation and my family preservation, that's number one with me. What anybody else does is of really no concern to me, unless they do something that they're going to regret later on and pay the price of what they do. We all live for self-preservation. That's what we do. That's what our human life is for. To procreate and to self-preserve. And when obstacles come in the way, you handle it. You just handle it. What choice do you have? Well, you could run away from something or you could face it. I'd rather face something head on and get it over with. You have some adversity going on, take care of it. Deal with it. Deal with it. And get it over with. But there's nothing new about that. That's just life itself. This is what you do to preserve your life. That's what you do. You got adversity, deal with it. Deal with it. Now remember, not everything turns out your way in life, and that's just something that you got to realize and face, that not everything turns out the way you'd like it to be. That applies to every single one of us. You can't always get what you want. Again, but you try so hard, you just might find you might get what you need. Not guaranteed, but that rhymes. As a human species, you just do the best you can to make it from day to day, that you wake up another day. All right, you might consider that. That's what life is all about, getting up. What it is you want to do with your day, whatever that might be. Whatever makes you happy, and that's what's important. No, there's no flooding over here. No, nothing here. Get no damage of anything here. And basically, there's other reasons too why I'm not doing a lot of shows on here. It doesn't matter what kind of a show you put on here. You could be doing a show where you're just talking about the weather or just talking about fucking flying termites. Nothing harmful, right? Somebody always find fault with that. YouTube is really, it's not a win-win situation for anybody on here. It's really not. Some may think it's a pissing contest or whatever, but you know, the reality of YouTube is that people put on shows to express themselves. And people either agree with your topic matter or they don't. They may not like your personality, but they may like it. It's a matter of taste. No matter what your personal interest is. Listen to it out, and that's the beauty of it. You could just tune out. But for the people that come back and forth to these shows, or anybody in fact, they're obviously getting something out of it, or else they wouldn't come, right? On and make shows until the day I die, but unfortunately that's not going to. There were two things I said to myself that on my next birthday, which already came the end of May, I hit a certain age, I said, man, I'm done with this shit. I've said that, and I actually meant that. And I guess it's a way of weaning myself off. And the great thing about it is I don't feel the need to do a bunch of shows on here. I'm not like, oh man, I'm just clamoring to do another show. I haven't been feeling like that at all. I had a wild hair and said, hey, I'll put a live show on because I feel like. Not because there's a certain obligation that people have been listening to me for a lot of years. Oh God, I gotta satisfy the crowds, trolls or otherwise, it don't matter. No, I don't really swing that way. I was feeling that way for a while, to be honest with you. I talked about this, that I felt that doing shows on here suddenly became an obligation. Because when you're doing as many shows as I was doing, yeah, it becomes expectation that you're going to be doing another show and another one, maybe even multiple. They even got in the exercise room from that door. There's a little pile in there. They even got in there too.
Yeah, I opened that puzzle.
Yeah.
I put you.
Well, we'll get that all out of there. But like, this is like one of the bugaboos, excuse the expression, bugaboos that you get living in the Philippines. Maybe you've never experienced swarms of flying termites or whatever. You say, what the fuck? Are you kidding me, dude? You see, at the beginning of my show, I showed you a pile of alive, flying termites. That's basically what they are. That's part of living in the Philippines. There's going to be rats and cats and stray dogs everywhere. There's going to be people burning trash. There's going to be people doing loud karaoke that you may not approve of, but there are good points and bad points of living in this particular country. As to any other country in Asia, I mean, it's really not that different. So if you had to make your choices, where would I live if I didn't live in the Philippines? It might be a hard choice to make. No, there's no flooding over here. And I'm not in a swamp. Here we go. No, I'm not really in that low level zone over here. I'm not far from the beaches. If there was a tsunami, I guess we'd have a concern. But what I've seen on all the newsreels and stuff, I couldn't believe it. Luzon, Manila, all those areas. And I asked myself, why, if you're living in a flood-prone zone or storm disaster zone, why do you make that conscious choice to live there, knowing there's going to be flooding, that the infrastructure does not support flooding, that there's going to be typhoons that are common, more common in other areas? Why does somebody make a choice to live in these areas? I don't know. I can't answer that question. It's one of the mysteries of life, I guess, where foreigners make a choice to live in a place that they know are prone to all this disaster. So why do they do that? I can't answer that question. People make their own personal choices, whether they're partners, whether a place to live, or how much they want to spend. But as I said, all in one show here, I told you the basics of why people come to live out here in the Philippines. And we'll go to that again. Yes, the women, they come out here for that, and they come out here for the housing costs. Everything else is extraordinarily expensive out here. I used this typical example I said earlier in the show, and that's just one example. One example. I mean, I can't walk in a local store without spending about 2,000 pesos easily. On some incidentals, you might need a gallon of vinegar. You might need a couple of other incidentals, You walk out of there spending 2,000. It's like maybe $38 for the $40 for just some incidentals, just nothing really significant. And out of that, there might not even be any food items. I mean, I've experienced this more so in the past year than any year I've lived out here. It's not a cheap place to live. Let's just get that out of the way. For those that are bound to come here to the Philippines, you're going to enjoy certain things about the Philippines, but there's certain things you might not find to be enjoyment. The first rule of thumb is don't be hanging around a bunch of foreigners. If you like that stuff, you move to Dumaguete. Real name, Dumaguete, but people like to call it Dumaguete because you got to be a dumbass to move there. Some people, they like that foreign influence of people of their own culture, Western culture. Some people don't. I'm not one of them that really wants to be around a bunch of foreigners. I enjoy being around Filipinos. I'm accepted out here. I do mesh with them. I talk to them. My girlfriend herself, my God, she knows so many people that eventually get to know me. They become my friends and acquaintances and so forth. You are in the Philippines. If you don't want to be around Filipinos, you're in the wrong country. Sure, there's a lot of things out here I think are quite bizarre in the culture, but for the most part, mind your business, stay out of trouble, and you live your life. That's all anybody wants to do anyway. You got adversity from somebody, then you face that adversity head on. Head on. Like a Sears bus hitting a fucking motorcyclist. It's head on. You face any adversities you have out here because that's what you have to do. And most adversities are not with Filipinos. In general, they're not. Sometimes there is. And either way, it's the same goddamn thing. You got an adversity, you face it, take care of it, and you move on. That's what you do. Life is not perfect no matter where you live. I'm summing it up in one show that has taken some people 10 years of shows talking about the same shit over and over again. Reasons to come to live to the Philippines and reasons not to. I'm telling you it all. And I made a list. Women, housing, cross off the booze because that's not cheap anymore. Cross off cigarettes, it's not cheap anymore. Cross off any prescription medications. That's extraordinarily expensive. Over-the-counter products, extraordinarily expensive. You want to live like a Filipino? There's nothing wrong with living like a Filipino if that's what you want. If you want to give up your Western culture altogether, sure, you can live like a Filipino and live cheaply. And again, it's a broad statement because there are a lot of wealthy Filipinos out here. I kind of get irritated when I hear people referring to Filipinos all being broke because they're not. You got middle class, upper class, and very wealthy Filipinos out here. And the numbers are staggering, actually. You make an assessment for when you go to the big city, you see beggars on the street, you see this and that, and you see people living in less than, you would say, decent housing, but they're living within their means. But as a foreigner, you don't have to live that way, is what I'm saying. Why are you so curry-put? I don't know. Because maybe you want to spend all that money on the Filipinos. Go out and get this one that's tonight, get another one the other night. That's why you want to live in a $40 a month apartment. That's your choice. Everybody has a reason why they live in a really cheap place. It's either that their income just cannot support them living, then he should have come out here. Then you want to go chase the ass out here, you're going to have to pay for it for the most part, according to what you're looking for. That's going to cost you money, so maybe that's why they live in these $40 a month dives, which may not be a dive to a Filipino. It might be a step up to some people. Keep that in mind, too. Okay, anyway, I'm pretty much done here. I got to go help finish up and clean up around here. The termite invasion. That's a bugaboo, excuse the pun. It's a bugaboo out here. And you're going to find a lot of bugaboos out here in the Philippines. But mix and match. Where there's bad, there's good. Accentuate the good. I get tired of hearing all this negativity about the Philippines. It's not just a woman that's keeping me here. If I was so uncomfortable living here, I'd find another place to live. I just don't want to force myself to live in a place that I am not happy living in. So there has to be something about the Philippines that I enjoy. And the friendly people, that's number one on the list. I must say that. It is true. They are friendly out here, no matter what you hear. Of course, don't piss a Filipino off. And when you do, well, you'll deal with that too. You'll deal with anything that you have to deal with out here, trust me. And I speak from experience. It's not usually the Filipinos that are the problem, it's the foreigners. And if you want to live in a place like Dumaguete, that'll be your perfect place if you like being around a bunch of other foreigners. You should have stayed where you were, if that's what you want. If you're going to be part of this culture, immerse yourself in the culture. Spend time with Filipinos. You are in their country after all. You really want to be in a place that's a conglomerate of all these Americans and so forth in one fucking town? Didn't you get away from your country in part to just find a new culture and enjoy a new culture? Well, some of you had more reasons to move here. You're running away from something, not toward. Or your pension just was not going to do it in America, for example, anymore. Sure, I understand all that. But when you add everything else up out here, oh, these tiresome stories. I could live on 500 a month. It makes me want to barf. Even talking about it, because it's the most overplayed topic in the Philippines other than talking about Filipinas. What does it cost to live in the Philippines? Gag me with a spoon. If you have to ask that question, maybe you shouldn't be out here because I'd answered it. Yes, it's expensive to live in the Philippines. It's not what you thought it would be. To your dismay, after living out here for a while, you found out on your own. From year to year that you spend out here, you decided to move here. So from year to year, you're seeing the inflation going out of control, 60% inflation on everything, even out here, never mind America. I buy the most mundane things in the store. It seems you can't walk into one of these little stores, little grocery, mom and pop operations, without putting out at least 1,000 spot. And what did you get for your money? Nothing. Nothing. You didn't get a bunch of food that's going to support you for a week for that 1,000. No, you didn't. You need chlorine bleach. You need detergent. You need shampoo, soap, everyday things, toilet paper. Look what you're spending on that. It's not cheap to live in the Philippines, period. Let's get this over with. Let's put a cork on that bottle. Let's get it straight. If you're choosing the Philippines because you think it's a cheaper place, you'd be right on one thing, and one of the only things: housing. That sums it up. Housing. Again, let's say it again. Housing, 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 housing is still affordable. That's probably the only thing that is affordable in the Philippines. If you're a heavy drinker, you're getting disappointed already. You've been out here a number of years. You're cutting into your pension expenses on booze, and that's getting higher and higher and higher and higher. Everything out here is getting higher and higher. But alas, it's not just the Philippines, it's everywhere. But since we're talking about the Philippines, then we'll stick to that. I'll answer it again. No, it is not the most affordable place in Asia to live. Sorry to disappoint you. And I'm sure a lot of you pensioners are finding that out radically. You may have to reduce your drinking or whatever it is you do. You may have to reduce your cavorting with the Filipinos. Instead of hiring, 5 a week, maybe you're down to 2 a week. Certain types of expats, of course. You know, it's called survival. And you do what you have to do out here. You made the choice, and you got to live with it. Or not. You don't have to stay here if you don't want. But that'll have you sitting there thinking, well, where else could I possibly go? Cost of living, what? I don't know, Cambodia? I don't know. You want to live in Cambodia? So I don't, I don't know. Malaysia's nice, but I don't think I'd want to live there. Kuala Lumpur, progressive city. Certain costs are, might be lower in many cases than the Philippines. Not much. No matter where you go, my friends, there you are. And you got to deal with whatever it is you have to deal with. Your finances are ultimate at the top of the list of why and where you make your choices to live. You deal with it like anything else in life. That's my show.
All right, that's his show, man. Oh God, that was great, man. I want to thank all you guys for coming in. Mick Fisher, Mr. Edward John Lippert, the Chicken Joker, Frankie. That was a good chapter, Popeye. Thank you. I tell you, guys, I can't even dissect that. Hector Gubat, maraming salamat po. Who else do we have here tonight? We had MJ the Flipper. MJ the Flipper, Steve 25901. Yes, yes. Charmy Boy. IAA the Devil. Man, some of the names you guys come up with crack me up, man, big time. And I want to thank you for all your chatting you did in the live chat. It's friggin' awesome, man. I gotta get out of here. I gotta grab something to eat. And yes, Sylvania M. Popeye had an open heart surgery, and I'm glad you're doing better, Sylvania M. Keep kicking. Don't let the don't let the Grim Reaper take you, brah. Okay? Keep going. You can do it. Oh man. All right, guys. Y'all have a good night, and I'll see you soon, man. Either a Popeye one short or a live stream. I have no idea. I've been enjoying my summer, and I hope you're enjoying your summer. All right, take care, guys. See you on the flip side.